it seems to me that we need to teach more about finances and support for the workers. And because of the emphasis on faith, sometimes that's been skipped over. So I think that needs to happen. But I also know that we need to be careful about not going too far on that. So how do you think we might approach support of the workers on the field without going to the other side of what everybody does and makes it the central point of teaching?
Well, I think, and these are my opinions, okay, I think that there are two shoes. There's a right shoe and a left shoe. And if you put them on the wrong foot, it's hard to walk in them.
Okay.
And I think that we've been wearing the shoes on the wrong feet very often, in that a man who is called of God, so he's willing to risk in order to follow the call of God. So he's basically willing to work for whatever God provides for him. Okay. So if that's the heart of the man, then he's worthy of support. I mean, he's basically proven himself in that sense.
Right, I see that.
And so that's where his heart should be, that he's willing to do it just because God told him to. And that's the way God's leading him. And it's a calling, it's urgency on his heart. For example, I see, like my son David here, that he's a teacher. He doesn't know that. But whenever you talk to him, he's teaching. He's always teaching. You talk to him about cows, he'll teach you all day long about cows. Then talk about pasture grass. He'll teach you all day long about pasture. And so the guy is a teacher, but he doesn't see himself that way. He doesn't understand that he is. Well, I believe that the same thing is true in the spiritual sense, that if a man if he's ministry oriented and he's a teacher or he's a pastor, that's what he's going to do. And then when he's seen to be doing that, he's not asking someone to pay him to do that. But when the church sees that that's his calling, the church should say he needs to be supported. So the motivation of the supporting of the man is not because he's unwilling to do it unless he gets support.
Right.
But the fact that he's doing it, so let's support him. Or maybe he's not doing it. Maybe we can see he's called to be doing it, so let's support him. So it seems to me that there's a real balance in this thing, that if a man is only willing to do it if he's paid, then I don't think he's the guy I want to pay.
Okay.
And so the thing that I believe we should do, and I have sought to do this and to teach this, that we as the church should be sending men out. And the men we send out are the men who are willing to go at their own risk, so to speak. They're willing to go because God told them to. And we should see that. And those are the men, those are the faithful men who the church should be compelled to support. And so and the same thing in the local assembly. Like, I believe that when a man is an elder, or he's as a pastoral ministry or whatever the case may be, that when he's involved in that he probably will get so busy that he's full-time. And when he's full-time, he should be supported in his full-time ministry. But it should never become a job where the man's a hireling, so he only works when he's paid. Because that's the thing that that we're trying to avoid, basically.
Right.
It's not the matter that none of these people are worthy of their hire, but nobody's a professional in the sense that he's there for the money.
Right. He's not a hired gun.
Yeah.
But that side of responsibility for supporting those kinds of men, I think, can and should be increased, because I think it can be detrimental to seeing workers. I mean, when all the workers are working their full-time job and then doing the ministry in their spare time, the work is affected in a negative way. So that's one of the things we're grappling with in Mexico. I would like to see more people supported.
Yeah.
I
I think the whole idea of teaching, giving, I struggled with that, and I know that others have. I remember Steve struggling with that down there in Mexico, and not teaching giving because he didn't want anybody to think he was asking for money.
right.
I believe that Paul in Corinthians, he made it real clear that I'm not asking for your money. I've been working and you're not supporting me. But here's what you should be doing.
Yes. Here's the instruction.
And so he gave them instruction about what they should be doing with their money.
The fact is that people are hesitant sometimes to do that because they feel like it's a taboo subject.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to get that out of our minds.
Yeah.
And I think you're sharing these things as part of that. It's just because people sometimes feel constrained by what the perception is from the past, and they can't break out of those things, and it's like, but at some point it becomes counterproductive.
I think one of the things in teaching the Word, and I think that a lot of ministries have really caught on to this, and sometimes this can lead to kind of wooden, dead ministry. But I believe the matter of teaching through the Word so that things are taught in context is really important, because if I'm teaching through the Word and I come to these things, then it's obvious that this is part of the curriculum. Right. It's not something I'm inserting. And so I think that if we would teach the Scriptures in context and avoid becoming automatons in doing it, because very often I've heard expository teaching that was pretty dead. But I've also heard some expository teaching that's very much alive. So if we are led by the Spirit of God and we're teaching under the anointing of the Spirit of God and we're teaching in context, I believe that we would cover all these things.